importance of a good night's sleep is both mental and physical. We generally will find, and I think people know this in general, that they feel better and they think better when they're getting a good night's sleep. When you look at the reported data, about 5% of the population will have excessive daytime sleepiness from having sleep apnea. And another, at any one time, about 10% of the population will complain of insomnia.
The job, if I don't get enough sleep, then I am completely drained and I can't function throughout the day, and I'll start nodding off in class, I won't pay attention, or I just notice that I'm not as fluid and energetic.
There are a number of things that can end up causing people to have problems with insomnia. And we see this change as they progress through life. One very common problem with insomnia that we see in teenagers and college kids is something called delayed sleep phase syndrome, which is basically where their internal clock has them wanting to go to bed late and get up late. And so these people will come in complaining that, hey, I can't fall asleep at night and I can't wake up for class in the morning. And basically their sleep stage is just delayed to a later phase in life. And that's probably the most common reason for young kids and college-age kids to have what they would call insomnia.
Just staying up all night the night before or something like that, and then having to sleep during all my classes, or just sometimes I get stressed out with just a lot of different homeworks things, you know, gotta do all these different things, and I can't fall asleep, so it's hard.
We see a lot of stress. Stress and anxiety are very common causes of insomnia. And what they will complain about is I lay there and I just can't shut my brain off. I realize if I keep thinking about this, I'm not going to sleep. And they think about peaceful things, and within a minute or two, they're right back there worrying about whatever they were worrying about.
I have a really hard time falling asleep because I'm stressed. I think that's probably the #1 reason why I can't fall asleep. Too many things going on throughout the day, and I just sit and think about it, and it keeps me awake.
There are some obvious things that you can do to try to minimize stress at night to prevent staying awake and not being able to sleep. One of those obvious things would be to try not to engage in stressful activities right before sleep. And a classic example of that would be someone who is having financial problems, and they sit down once the kids are to bed to balance their checkbook. And then they lay there thinking, oh my gosh, we're negative, what am I going to do? And a lot of people will use that time as they lay in bed to plan their next day, to think about what's coming up. And one thing that is often helpful is scheduling a planning session early in the evening or during the day if possible, so that you can have a peaceful brain when you go to bed at night.
What do you do when you can't sleep?
I don't know. I just kind of lay there and hopefully I fall asleep. I wake up in the morning, but I'm tired.
There are a number of things that we can do behaviorally to try to help with our insomnia. Some people bring up a warm bath or a cup of milk, and some people find that to be very helpful and beneficial. Certainly making sure that you're not having pain or discomfort at night when you go to bed. Some people find a little Tylenol or Advil before they go to bed is very helpful. One thing that we promote is that you do not just lay in bed fighting to sleep.
Normally I'll just try to pop in some music on my iPod, some kind of mellow music or something. And if that doesn't work, I'll try to just take a walk outside and see what I can do.
Sometimes when I can't sleep, I will pull out a book and read, because if I'm reading, then I'm tiring out my eyes, as dumb as that sounds, and it'll just make me sleepy, so I'll fall asleep to a book, or I'll just try and clear my head.
One thing we promote and recommend is that we do not just lay there and fight to sleep. Our brains, as we get ready for bed and as we go to sleep, recognize that routine, and as we get in bed, it release hormones to help us fall asleep. Our brains can be retaught to associate that routine with other things, and a lot of people will go to bed, they'll lay there worrying about things, and with time their brains can learn that, oh, we're getting ready for bed, we're in bed, it must be time to struggle to sleep, or it's time to worry about our day. And instead of releasing melatonin and the other sleep hormones, it releases hormones to help, it helps us struggle and worry. And some people will comment that I feel peaceful, I feel tired, I get in bed and my brain clicks on and I start worrying. We would like your brain to recognize, I'm in bed, it's time to sleep. And if you're laying there for hours fighting to sleep, it's often counterproductive. What we would recommend, rather than just laying in bed fighting and struggling to sleep, it would be to get up, get out of bed, go somewhere else and read, and or do something else until you feel capable of falling asleep, and then go back in bed and try once you feel capable of sleeping. The need to see a sleep specialist or a doctor for insomnia really depends on how frequent it's happening and how much it's affecting you. If this is only a night a week or just an occasional thing that lasts for an hour or so, then you probably would be safe in taking something like Tylenol PM that is not needed on a regular basis. If you're having problems with insomnia on a nightly basis, it would be wise to come in and talk to your doctor, and if he feels necessary, a sleep specialist. The other problem that we run into often is that people are just not feeling rested and refreshed from their sleep. And they feel like they're getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep consistently, and they just are feeling tired and down, and their sleep just does not restore them like it used to. And those patients generally, or those people generally should be, they should come in and see their doctor. It may be that there's a medical problem like low thyroid or anemia, low iron levels, but they may also have a limb movement disorder or sleep apnea that's occurring while they're asleep, and they may not be aware of it. And those are things that can be screened for and helped by seeing their physician.